Hey, yo, everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review, and today we're going to be doing my comic book load for the week. So this is my Batman week, pretty much, because with the exception of maybe 4 titles, it's all Batman and Batman-related content, which is all well and good for me, because I love Batman. And this is particularly my favorite week because my 4 favorite comics come out this week: Batman, Wonder Woman, Justice League, and Nightwing. Or at least 4 of my favorite comics. So without any further ado, let's actually jump into the comics this week. So starting things off, we have Batman issue number 7. And on my Comic Xology website, I clicked all variants. So not only do I get the original cover, but I also get the variant cover. And I guess that also includes I get the digital distribution combo pack. So if I wanted to, I can go online and get a digital copy. Hey, that's all good for me. It's more Batman. Let's talk about issue number 7. Issue number 7 is a little bit more of a subtle issue compared to all the previous issues, but no less important. Batman finally gets out of the clutches of the Court of Owls, and he makes it back to the Batcave. Still kind of rattled up after his experience, and he kind of goes over the Court of Owls and their members and their assassins' talent to Nightwing. And we get some startling revelations about Nightwing and about the Batman family and about the Court of Owls in this. So like I said, a lot more of a subtle comic. There's not a lot of pow, kick, punch, hiya! But there is still some big revelations. There's a lot of standing and talking, but good standing and talking. So let's talk about the good, the bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good dialogue in this. Like I said, big revelations. I like how Scott Snyder has a voice for Batman, even when Batman's kind of broken down. He still has a good voice for Batman, very analytical, very more technical than anything. Revelations were good. Nightwing was brought in at the right time and right point, and it's a nice build up for the big Court of Owl crossover, the Night of Owl crossover. Bad, none. Like the rest of the series, this is a 5 out of 5 must get. The Batman stuff is just Scott Snyder. I said this before, I'll say it again. He's knocking it out of the ballpark. One thing is if you do pick this up and you also pick up Nightwing, I recommend you read this first, and I'll talk about that in a moment because now we're going to be talking about Nightwing. Uh, the end of the first story arc for Nightwing that has to deal with Psycho and Haley Circus. Really a 7-issue story arc, which could have been trimmed down to 6 issue. I think it was issue number 5 that he dealt with one of the circus members getting forced into an unholy ritual for marriage, whatever. But on the whole, this the story arc has kind of I don't know. It's been a little nostalgic for me because it's not the biggest, most over the top story arc there is. It's more subtle and a little bit more down to earth, like Chuck Dixon's run or his earlier run on Nightwing, which I like. He's going back to the circus, dealing with a mystery happening in the circus. Very, very close. Grounded, not over the top or epic storyline. It's still a very personal and important storyline, but very grounded. So this is the end of the story arc. We got a big fight scene, some revelations, which, like I said, tie into Batman. And the last part of this issue actually takes a lot of dialogue from Batman because a scene in this is also the same scene in Batman. Like I said, if you pick this up, I recommend picking it up after Batman. Good artwork as always. The fight scene was good. Everything was wrapped up in a nice, neat package. And like I said, um, it felt like an old Nightwing comic, and it ended on a good note, leading us into what will be a good next story arc. Bad. I mean, I really didn't care for Haley Circus because I feel like we always go back to that at some point or another. It's good that we're ending with it. And like I said, it ends in a nice, neat package, but maybe too nice and too neat. It feels like your status quo for superhero comics. Big, desperate struggle, revelations, they defeat the enemy, blah, blah, blah. Let's go home and have some coffee and play some Nintendo Wii. Maybe we can play some Okami, or we can play some Donkey Kong, or we can play some Wario Shake It. You know what games I'm playing right now. But anyways, on a whole, I would have to give this a solid 4 out of 5. Good story, enjoyable, nice writing. Kyle Higgins really does do a good job with Nightwing. But like I said, nothing that really blew my mind away, so that's why I'm giving it a 4 and not a 5. Um, Plus, I think it could have been cut down to 6 issues because that unholy matrimony issue really wasn't necessary. But yes, moving on to Catwoman issue number 7. Catwoman is starting a new story arc. Last issue we had the big blowout with Batman and with the Gotham police, and now she's starting things back up. Once again, stealing. This time she's stealing cars. However, in order to keep herself in line and not get in trouble and not have to, do any reckless mistakes, she has a tether. Her new broker, for lack of a better term, the woman that's keeping her grounded, is helping her out. And she also meets up with a other thief named Charge or Shock or something like that. I think it's Charge. It says right here, Charge. So uh, I'll go with Charge. Uh, or no, that's Change. Wow, that's pretty bad. Let's just call him Shock. Hey, Shock, that works. It's a stereotypical classic electric superhero name. Shock. Charge. Silly. But on the whole, the story good. The art was good. We got a change of art in this. It's not the same art that we've been getting for the previous issues, but it's a good change of art. I do like the art. I think Selena has a good voice in this. There's some pretty fun moments in this. Bad. Very safe issue. Very safe issue. I don't care about Shark Charge. I don't know. Electric Super Duper Randy Orton Man. I don't really care for the other thief. Uh, I feel as though this next story arc is going to be a very safe story arc because with the previous story arc, we kind of had a big analysis of Catwoman as at the same time she was living life very much on the edge and she was really in the crapper most of the time. The police were after her. She was really having a very toxic relationship with Batman. Her best friend had died. Really was not working out with Catwoman. So, like I said, this feels like a safe issue. We'll see where the story arc goes. Who knows? Everything can go to shit in Catwoman. It usually does. Uh, in a good way. On a whole, 3 out of 5. Safe issue, good issue. Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 7. Yet again, another Batman book. Um, you know what I like about Red Hood and the Outlaws? Is that it's a different kind of Batman book. This has a very sci-fi, taboo, I don't know, fantasy kind of feel to it, without being fantasy. We have the all cast and we have the Untitled. And Essence, this little girl right here who showed up in issue number 1 is showing back up in this issue. And she has a beef to pick with Red Hood, mostly because he stabs her in the chest. He doesn't trust her. He feels as though she's playing both sides in this big war that's going down. Good dialogue in this. Some good art, good fight scenes. We get to learn a bit more about the all cast. We'll get to learn more about the Untitled, and Essence is turning out to be an interesting character. Bad, just like the previous 2 issues, nothing really wowed me. I think it's a good start to a new story arc. A good start to a new story arc. So I'll give it a. Let's give it a. We'll give it a 4.3 out of 5. So no, we'll give it a 4 out of 5. A good start to a new story arc. Nothing really wowed me, but it was a good issue. So Red Hood and the Outlaws, issue number 7. Really turning out to be a good comic. It started off very controversial, but it's turning out to be good now. Moving on to the last Batman book of the week, technically, is Birds of Prey. Now, Birds of Prey has kind of been that Batman book that's been in the shadows. That we've had all these other Batman books that have been awesome and overshadowing Birds of Prey, but it doesn't take away how good Birds of Prey has been. Uh, in the past 6 issues, the Birds of Prey have been going up against a group known as the Cleaners, which are controlled, brainwashed basically, by an individual known as Choke. In this, the Birds of Prey go through all the Cleaners and eventually get to Choke. However, Choke has a hold on the whole entire Birds of Prey team in one shape or form. And startling revelations about Black Canary show up. Finally, the issue ends off with a ballsy maneuver done by one of the Birds of Prey members, which gets pulled off pretty nicely. And surprisingly, it's not Poison Ivy, although she tried to do this ballsy maneuver. Good. Like I said, we got some good revelations, very nicely paced, good fight scenes, and I felt as though the ending was very well done. I'm really liking this team. I think they balanced out pretty well. I don't know if I want Batgirl on it completely, but her making cameo appearances are nice. Bad, none really. I think this was on a whole solid issue. I'll give it the 4.5 out of 5 stars. Really like Birds of Prey this week. Really was a fun issue. The funny thing I like is that Black Canary is one of the few superheroes that complains about her superpower. She goes, Sonic Scream is okay and all, but I'd rather fly. But who wouldn't want to fly? Uh, Next, we're going into Wonder Woman issue number 7. Much like the Batman issue number 7, Wonder Woman issue number 7 is a very subtle issue, but it still has some action in it. They go to Hephaestus, who is the forger of Wonder Woman's equipment, most notably the Lasso of Truth, and the forger of the gods when it comes down to their weapons. We find out some incredibly startling revelations about the Amazons and their connection with Man World, and something that they did that is completely new. We get to see a little bit more of a tender side to Wonder Woman as she finds out this revelation, and we find out that Wonder Woman wants to have some weapons so that she can go into hell and deal with Hades to get Zola back. Because if you remember from the last issue, Zola was taken away. Uh, Good. This issue, like I said, a lot of people were concerned about Wonder Woman turning into this big Xena warrior princess like character. And while she is a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more warrior like, and let me just say, people, it's not a bad thing that Wonder Woman is a warrior and she's a little bit aggressive. That is her MO. She is a warrior. But while she is a little bit more aggressive and a little bit more of a warrior, we still see the tender side and the compassionate side of Wonder Woman. We actually see her shed a few tears when she finds out this startling revelation about the Amazons and how she wrongfully acts about it. She doesn't like go anime and have her tears fly out, but she kind of covers her face in self disappointment and maybe even a little bit of how should I say? I don't want to say disgust, but shame. There we go. The Amazons do some really sketchy stuff, and it's very nicely handled. And like I said, the revelation was really good. Pretty cool fight scene, especially showing how powerful the Lasso of Truth is. A lot of people don't know this, but the Lasso of Truth is an incredibly powerful weapon. Really shows off in this here. Good setup for the next issue. What I think a lot of people need to realize is Wonder Woman is a much slower paced comic than others, which makes it work out well. There's no bad about this issue. Whether or not you should get it, like I said, Wonder Woman is a little bit more slow paced. Wonder Woman does not work well as a Monster of the Week comic, like every 2 or 3 issues, or maybe 4 issues. I think 4 is like the bare minimum you should have for a story arc. Every 4 issues, have a new villain. No, this is going to be more of a story arc of the year rather than a story arc of the week. It's going to be long. It's going to be drawn out, and that's where Wonder Woman works best. She's a character of epic proportion, and epic gets thrown around a lot. But you look at a lot of the epics like the Odyssey or the Iliad, and you even look at some fairy tales from the Brothers Grimm, and Wonder Woman's kind of like that. She is a tale. She is an epic. She's a mythic character, and it works out well for her. So I'm kind of glad they're taking this long approach. By the way, the supporting characters are coming off very nicely in this. So my score, 5 out of 5. Really good read this week. I think a lot of Wonder Woman fans are going to enjoy it more than most comic book fans, which could be said for almost any character. But really good comic, nice, good pace. Brian Azzarello and Cliff Chang is doing a very good job at this with art and with story. Moving on to our last 3 issues this week, we have Supergirl issue number 7. Big showdown between her and the World Killers. That's basically the issue. Her versus the World Killers. Her getting her butt kicked and them getting their butt kicked. I'm going to sum this issue up real quickly because I don't want to reveal too much of what happens. Uh, Good character analysis of Supergirl, where she is the underdog. Always. Supergirl is always the underdog and it works well for her. So we have the underdog Supergirl, we have a good fight scene, uh, really great Kryptonian mythos put in there with the world killers. Bad. The only bad I can say is that the fight scene stops abruptly, but that's really the only bad. I'm going to have to give this a 4.5 out of 5 also. A lot of people have been harsh on the Superman universe, rightfully so. The Superman comics really haven't been pulling out as well as, other comics like Batman, Green Lantern, or anything else for that matter. But one comic that I think is the shining star of the Superman comics are Supergirl. This is a really good comic, really nice, really enjoyable. Really handling Supergirl as a character very nicely. Team up comic, Justice League issue number 7. This is the first story arc for the Justice League in the new 52 in the present day. So the basic story is that there is this guy that can create flesh monsters, and the Justice League is going after them. And that's not really the major story in this. That's more of kind of like the cushioning. For the major story is Stephen Trevor. This is told through the perception of Stephen Trevor, his connection with the Justice League, and how the Justice League is seen by the world, by the government, and by the people. We get to see how the Justice League interacts with each other now, which is good. Very still kind of bickery, but still kind of more friends than anything. In a bickering way, not like I hate you. It's just like, hey, let's poke fun at Batman right now, kind of way. Some good fight scenes. We got a new artist in this, and the new artist is well, I don't think it's Justice League. It's still good art. What Jim Lee said he's going to do is do like 5 or 6 issues, take a break for a bit. 5 or 6 issues, take a break for a bit. So out of the year, we're probably going to get Jim Lee for maybe, if there's 12 issues in a year, we're probably going to get him for maybe 10 issues each year, which is good if he stays on a consistent timetable like that. Uh, we also get the backup to Shazam in this, which I will talk about in a moment. Uh, Good. I liked how this was told through the perception of Stephen Trevor. I like how he's a Justice League member as much as he's a Justice League character as much as he's like a Wonder Woman character. I think Stephen Trevor was very nicely portrayed in this, and is probably his pound for pound best portrayal in quite a long time. I mean, in the Silver Age and the Bronze Age and the Golden Age, he was kind of Wonder Woman's, sick puppy. But in this, he's kind of his own standalone character, while still having his strong connection with Wonder Woman, still loving her. Kind of that forbidden love. So Stephen Trevor was very nicely portrayed in this, and I like that they went through the perception of Stephen Trevor. Uh, the art, like I said, was good. Not quite Justice League art, but still good art. It seemed a little grittier and dark, but it worked. Bad. Etta Candy is completely different than what she was previously. And while I don't mind the look of her, we go from a character that was Caucasian and overweight to a character that I assume is Black American. She could be Hispanic. I think she's Black American and slim and sexy. So we got, I know the world got changed, but I didn't know like ethnicity changes a character too. I found that to be interesting. I don't mind the new look for a Candy. I think it looks fine. But it's just it's odd. It's like if suddenly Green Arrow was Asian, or if like I don't know, Wonder Woman was like Hispanic. It's just like it's not bad. It's just an incredible different change that I don't see where continuity altering events would make that happen. Maybe it could make her younger. Maybe it make her slimmer, but her ethnicity was completely changed, which I found interesting. Not really a bad thing, but something to point out that kind of just was interesting. On a whole, wait, let's also talk about the Shazam. Well, first, yeah, let's talk about the Shazam. I already did the good and bad. The Shazam story starts out pretty good, starts out pretty interesting. They take a different approach with Billy Batson, makes him kind of more of a well, I don't want to reveal how they do a different approach, but definitely takes a different approach for him. The Shazam comic starts off good with good art, an interesting start to a new story, bringing back some interesting villains for Shazam. Um, Billy Batson's new approach is going to take some time to get used to, but I think I will eventually get used to it. It's going to take some time. But on a whole, I thought it was handled fairly well. Uh, Justice League issue number 7, including the Shazam backup. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. A good issue, fun. Stephen Trevor's perception was good, and the Shazam backup was good. Interesting story. Interesting. I enjoyed it. And last but not least, we're going to round things off with Batman Beyond Unlimited issue number 2. I said I would at least get issue number 2 for Batman Beyond Unlimited. I'll let you know if I'm going to bother with issue 3 or more on. Now, one of you guys, told me, and I forget who, so I apologize, that the Beyond universe is going to be in one issue. one comic, which I think is better than having it in three separate comics. That's good. Let's do that. Make it a $3.99 comic and have half of the issue be one story and one half of the issue be another story. Good formula. We got a Batman story and a Justice League story in this. Batman story is kind of a new story dealing with someone named Mad Stan. Now I don't know if it's a character from the animated series or someone from the previous Batman Beyond story with Heart of Husha, no, Hush Beyond, and so on and so forth. With the Batman Beyond comic cartoon, I watched the first full season, and then I watched bits and pieces of the second and third, so I could have missed this character. But he seemed like a fun character. It was enjoyable, and I thought the writing was a little bit better for this issue, for the Batman Beyond story. With the Justice League Beyond story, good art, interesting approach. Basically, the Justice League are going to Cobra to get the Atom back, or I believe he's called Micro in the Ultimate Universe. Uh, and one of the Justice League members gets separated. Spoiler is Batman. Blah blah blah. And they also are there to also rescue someone. Good, bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good. The Batman issue, I think I liked a little bit more in this, actually, as opposed to last month where I liked the Justice League story a little bit more. I thought it was fairly well written. I liked the characters that were introduced. The Justice League story was fun. It had a good cliffhanger at the end with a bringing a character back that was prolific in the Justice League Unlimited cartoon. Um, Bad. The Justice League Unlimited story, it was more of a Batman story than a Justice League story, which kind of bothers me. I would like it to be more of a team story than just a Batman story. And then, while the Batman story is fun, I really don't feel as though it's anything momentous or big. I think it's just kind of there. So we'll see where it goes from there. So I'm gonna give this a 3.5 out of 5. Good, not quite good enough. At least not for me to pick up issue number 3. I don't think I will. We'll see. You never know. Maybe I'll see it on the stands and be like, okay, it's only another $3.99, but still, I don't think I'm gonna continue with this. It's good. I do not. I like 3.5 out of 5 is a good rating, but like I said, I wasn't feeling this. But yes, that is the comics for this week. If you want to see the comic that I enjoyed the most, then you'll just have to wait for my Andrew Cutter picks of the week. Two things real quickly. I'm going to review Green Arrow issue number 1 through 7 sometime this week. And I'm also going to review Blue Beetle issue number 1 through 7. Curious? You'll see. So, yes, that is my reviews for this week. This is Andrew saying peace out for now.